Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be taking a little bit of a different direction and looking and ranking the top 5 sophomores from the season 2 and the first ever HBA draft. And it's something that I'm really excited to do, so let's get into it. Now we'll talk about our honorable mentions, and we'll begin with Rafael Molina, who was a late first-round draft pick for the LA Lakers, and he's been pretty underwhelming as a whole. Not the best rebounder. He's not very good in the paint, and the LA Lakers officially traded him to the Minnesota Lightforce in exchange for fellow Season 2 draftee Sean Slattery, and he's now been sent to the Minnesota Lightforce's development team, the New Mexico Prowlers. The next person that we'll be talking about is one of the last draft picks from that Season 1 draft, who is Sancho Gonzalez. And the thing about Sancho is less about the fact that he hasn't performed well, and more about the fact that he just hasn't been given enough opportunities to really take that starting role. Compared to all the people that we will talk about, they've all taken that next step and became the starters of their team. Sancho is playing sort of a two-man role with fellow center Darren Ryan, and Sancho has performed very well in his time. He's been a great scorer, really also pretty decent defensively, and it's just really exciting to see what he can do. He just isn't a starter yet, so ultimately he's going to be an honorable mention as well. But now we'll get into the top 5 best sophomores. With the number 5 selection for the top 5 sophomores, I picked Marcus Paget, a third overall pick coming out of UNC, and I really liked him as a prospect, and he hasn't disappointed me in any way, but he also hasn't really blown my mind, other than the fact that he literally has made 3 half-court buzzer beater shots this season, which is actually insane, because there is no other person in the HBA who has made multiple half-court shots, or even any buzzer beaters, I think. So what he's done, I guess in that respect, is pretty incredible. But other than that, he's been pretty average to just slightly above average. He's been a pretty good assister, probably one of the best in the league. But other than that, he doesn't really have anything else. He's an okay defender, and he's not the greatest scorer. And it's what you tend to see with point guards, so that's not something really to knock against him. But overall, I would say he's pretty decent as just a general player. But I went with him at number 5. At number 4, I went with fellow teammate of Marcus Paget, Arthur Marshall, who went in the middle of the Season 2 draft. And I really liked him as a prospect. He was definitely seen as a boom or bust prospect, and he has been all boom for the Kansas City Renegades. He's really been everything and more for them. And he's easily one of the better power forwards in the league. I've really enjoyed watching him, and nobody was really talking about him last season, but I saw him as just one of the most underrated players in the league, and he's really been really good for the Kansas City Renegades. He's been a great pair with David Robinson at the center and James Harden and Marcus Paget and PJ Tucker. He's just fitted well with all of them, and it's really exciting and really cool to see what he's been doing. I have him at 4, which may seem low, especially after all I've talked about, but these next 3 prospects have been just so amazing that I had to put them a little bit over him. Well, overall, Arthur Marshall has, when we look at Marcus Paget and Arthur Marshall, there's like a pretty big gap, and then with the next 3 prospects, it's like very small, incremental gaps, until we talk about our first top, I guess, our best sophomores, is what I'm trying to say. For third best, we have Mark Cosgrove. And Mark Cosgrove he's progressed so much since he first came into the league. He was a top 5 draft pick in the Season 2 draft, and I remember his first couple games, he was really rough. He had a lot of rookie mistakes. One time, he just ran out of bounds. And we see a lot of veterans do that, but not consistently like he was doing it. And he's progressed a lot. He originally started as just a free sort of scorer, and now he became into a team player who is very disciplined and is a really great shooter. And it's really been cool to see because I've really liked Mark Cosgrove as well. He's one of the few prospects that I was really high on. And to see his progression over time has been really cool. He's been one of the most impactful players in the entire league, and ultimately that's why I have him at 3. He's a great scorer, a pretty decent defender, like we'll tend to see with this entire class. But overall, he's just a really great player, and it's been really cool to see his progression. At number 2, we have Harris Pitek, and he was somebody that I actually scored really, really low. When I was ranking all the prospects, I thought he was the 3rd best point guard within this class. I really wasn't high on him. I saw lots of faults and lots of rooms for growth for him. But he has absolutely blown all of my expectations out of the water. He has been so good. And the reason he's at 2 is for a lot of reasons, but the number one thing that I have is the fact that what you tend to see with point guards is they're not very good scorers, but they can get assists. Harris Pitek is literally both. And there's only one other point guard that I can really think of off the top of my head, actually 2, that can both score and can both that can score and get assists. And Harris Pitek is one of those 3 point guards. And that is really the difference that I see with him, and that ultimately makes him just be a number 2 within this list. He has just been so good, and he's got the scoring, he's got the assist. The defense, once again, is pretty decent, as you'll tend to see, like I've already said, within this class. But overall, he's really blown my expectations out the water, and he's been so pivotal for the Charlotte Spirits. Without him, it's really just Charles Barkley and Zach Jones. And we saw Zach Jones have a bad game. You never know when it's going to happen, but Charles Barkley was not really existing then. Neither was Zach Jones. They were both missing a lot of shots. Harris Pitek really had to step up. And he's really, really good, and I'm really happy to see him flourish. And now for the best sophomore from the Season 2 draft. If you're familiar with the HBA, or if you've even watched the video, you're going to know who it is. It's Denis Kazipov, quite easily. He has done so much stuff throughout his rookie season and even through this season, to the point where it's like, even if you watch just one game, watch any of his playoff performances, you're going to know he is the best rookie in this class, and he arguably is a top 3 even player in the HBA. He started it off with a bang, and he's continuing to just increase his role and continuing to become a team player like he always has been. And I remember just watching the draft showcase, and all the coaches were watching him, and we were all like, this kid is for sure number 1 overall. He's for sure going number 1 overall. And the Bulls ended up getting him, and they have not looked back. With him, they were propelled already in their first season ever to the second HBA Finals, and they won it. And I believe he was the playoff MVP for them. And he also made it to the All-Star game, and had one of the best scoring performances of all time for an HBA player. There's so much stuff that I could list, but just speaking generally, Denis Kazipov is easily the best sophomore from that class. He has outdone every expectation from him while even being thought of as the best prospect. He has literally dominated everything. Easily the best scorer, best 3-point shooter. He's probably got the best defense outside of the centers. The centers all, I would say, have amazing defense comparative to any other position. but outside of centers, he has the best defense, and he's so awesome. It's really cool. I've said that with all these prospects, but with him specifically, it's just really crazy how like he was the #1 prospect, and he literally has been that guy and has been one of the best players in the HBA in general, and he's stepping into that GOAT conversation for sure. We already know it's Jones and Kobe, but him and MJ are stepping in there, and both on the Bulls. Yeah, they really got it going, so it's really cool to see. But that is the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you think I should have changed with it, and make sure to subscribe. That's all for this video. We'll see you in a couple days probably with another video just recapping, and we might even see the World Series come to an end, or we may see the Cardis pull off another upset and make it 3-3, which would be really cool. But anyways, that's all for this video. We'll see you next time. Peace.